All right, we on. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and others of great millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. I'm the brother Aina from GMS Dallas. We got the Elder Yatazak here as well with me. And we're going to continue the series of Second Esdras, man. This is a prophetic chapter. Most of them are, straight prophecy. And there's an important part that people I see kind of on the comments. A lot of people request, verse 28 through like 30 something that we're going to cover. Lord willing, Abaratazah, we'll cover it. We'll get to it in this lesson here. It'll most likely be towards the back end of the lesson, since we're going to start at verse 1. But Lord willing, Abaratazah, this is edifying, all right, to the true believers in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay. And if you're watching this video, you should be taking notes. All right. You should be writing down the precepts that we're bringing out. All right. So that you can go back and look and read for yourself and really, get the edification that's coming out. All right. Did you have any, before we get started, do you have anything, Zaquan?
Oh no, we good to go. Let's get it rolling.
All right, cool. All right. So with this chapter here, Second Ezra 7. So when you look at chapter 6, um, the first half of the chapter was basically a vision, that he received, that Ezra received, and then Ezra was commanded to, if he wanted to receive another vision, he was commanded to go ahead and fast, right, 7 more days. Okay, so at this point he was you know several days into a fast. So he had fasted 7 days before, and then he was told to fast again. All right. And after he did fast, he pretty much spoke from verses 38 all the way down to verses 59, right? And so he had, troubled. He was troubled in his heart, talks about it, and he was asking these questions to the Lord. He mentioned about, the scriptures that we bring out all the time. Second Ezra 6 and 56, how the heathen are likened unto a drop that falleth from a vessel, right? So this is directly after, um, you know, he's beseeching the Lord to give him an answer. And so this is the answer that he received in verse 7, in chapter 7 and verse 1. It says, "And when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me the angel that had been sent unto me the nights afore. And he said unto me, Up, Esdras, and hear the words that I come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my power. Then said he unto me, the sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But and the sea is likened unto a people. Okay. It says, case, put the case, the entrance were narrow and like a river. Then who could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? Okay. And so precept that we always bring out is you know, when Yahweh Shah mentioned the straight gate, which is going into the same concept. Okay, because we'll get it in a little bit, but this is a basically parable that the angel is bringing out. Okay, going into the same concept. A large amount of people or a large body of water, right, is trying to pass through a narrow space. It's going to have to slow down, and it's going to have to, um, you know, go through that narrow space before it's able to come into the broad. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and, because it's going to bring another example. But before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and read this here in Matthew 7. All right. This is Yahweh Shai speaking, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. This is Matthew 7 and 13. All right. It says, Enter ye in at the straight gate. Okay. And we're going to get that word in the Greek for straight. Okay. That word here is stenos. The G number is 4728. Okay. Now it says narrow. Okay. Narrow. from obstacles standing close about. So it's the same concept here. Okay. The entrance being narrow is the entrance being straight. Okay. Now, what did Yahweh Shah mean when he said enter in the straight gate? What is the angel talking about when it's talking about the narrow river? Okay. It's talking about basically you having to pass through a trial period, and it's not going to be easy. Okay. The narrow path, like the saying goes, walking the straight and narrow, you basically walk in the road less traveled. Okay. And it's not going to be the easiest, because people go, what they say, the path of least resistance. People go the easiest
Right.
route, most of the time. Right. That's why in the second part of the verse, it says, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. You see that? So a majority of people, they're going to follow into the way of death and destruction. Okay, because that's the way that this world basically pushes is to be the beneficial way. Okay, that's why real quick I'm gonna get a precept as well in Proverbs, um, the first chapter.
And I've said another thing that the Matthew 7 going precept upon precept, line upon line, links it with the Apocrypha. You gotta have the whole roll. You see, and the wide, I would say, going the wide is the gate that leading to destruction. You
Mm-hmm.
got so many people that got a Bible that don't have the understanding that gate is wide. You see, and the lack of understanding of the truth of the scriptures makes that it puts them in danger. It's gonna be more people that don't understand this than it is that do. You see? So with us going through the straight gate, a reward for going through that straight gate is understanding to get through it. To even be willing to go through the straight gate. 2/3 of Israel ain't even willing to go through the straight gate. You know? So for those that have been called and are on that path, you know what I'm saying? We understand the straight gate. We understand what it's going to take. The scriptures tell you much tribulation is going to take for us to get into the kingdom of heaven. It tell you about the hour of temptation. It tell you that we're going to be martyrs. It tell you we're going to be under the threat of imminent death. And we said, okay, Lord, as long as you with us, we believe we're going to make it. Everybody that have a Bible don't think like that. So going that wide way, the wide way leads to destruction. You see? We understand that if we get through the straight gate, we get the kingdom. But we got to go through it. It ain't an Israelite on this planet that's not gonna have to go through the straight gate, whether they want to or not. You're gonna be in straight. You're gonna be in straights. I would say you're gonna be in straights when they roll. You've already been warned. But you tell the prophets they don't know what they talking about. That ain't what that's talking about, and all these different things. You resist the truth so hard to the point to where we see what the scriptures is talking about. Go ahead.
Fine. All right. And by the way, the reason why these lessons that we do, are so long is because these really multiple lessons. These are multiple topics that we're going into, and we're just kind of doing like a marathon lesson to a degree. You know what I mean? Until we get to a certain point. So a lot of times we might cover multiple topics in one lesson. Well, that's because there's multiple points in certain chapters. So we're gonna bring out this precept going into the concept of the straight gate leading to destruction. Okay. This is 1 Peter 4:17. It says, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And if it first began at us, and who's the house of the Lord? Those who know that they're Israelites. All right. It says, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High?
See, and that's the thing, because Adam was given the kingdom, right? Solomon was given the kingdom, and Yahweh Shai is both of those spirits coming back. So it was much tribulation that he was able to be glorified. You see, he had to be crucified. He had to be resurrected. He had to be raised up on the right hand side of the Father. That wasn't easy. You see? So that's why Yahweh's kingdom is forever. Solomon's was temporary. Adam's was temporary. But he got it right this time. We've been reading the book of Esdras. We've been in second Esdras. We done already been through it. Adam, what did you do?
Mm-hmm.
Then we go into the history of when King Solomon went off. Then you know that they came back as Yahweh and he had to make it right. When he came as Yahweh to make it right, it was not easy. It's not going to be easy for us. The Lord told us everything we're going to have to go through and pray to the Heavenly Father that we be able to endure it. So we're going to roll with that. You got it.
Con. That's right. All right. It says, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High, of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And if it first begin at us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai?
That's what I'm saying. And that links up with Zechariah 13:8. 2/3 going to be destroyed, 1/3 going to be delivered.
That's right.
You got it.
Okay, verse 18, it says, and here's the point. And if the righteous scarcely be saved, key word is scarcely, all right, because it talks about that narrow path. All right, it's not going to be easy. Okay. The righteous are scarcely, if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?
That's what I'm saying. They're going to get destroyed. I would say they're going to get destroyed according to prophecy and have to be brought back through the elect. You see, what I mean by being brought back through the elect is those that are delivered, the men, women, and children that are delivered. The scriptures prophesy babies being born in the kingdom and all these different things. You see? So when it tells you that in the kingdom of heaven, those babies are going to be, those babies that are going to be born are going to be those 2/3 that was destroyed. Okay, so that's how the so when Paul say his hope is that all Israel will be saved, it's because it's in line with the prophecy. The all Israel is going to be saved. It's just going to be an order to it. You got it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So that's the point on that. Let's go back to, I brought up Proverbs 1:8, or excuse me, what is it? 1:10. Going on down, talking about the enticement of sinners. But I want to get back to this point here in Matthew 7:13. It says, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Okay, so most people are they're not gonna make it. All right, most people are gonna be destroyed. All right, that's exactly the 2/3.
Because this is talking about Israel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is talking about Israel. Mm-hmm. 2/3 of Israel gonna be cut off and die. 1/3 is gonna be brought through the fire and delivered. You got it.
That's right. All right, verse 14. Because straight, all right, remember that word is narrow, means narrow. Straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it.
Get the word for gate. Let's see what that say.
Okay. Straight is the gate. I would imagine like an entrance, because a gate is like entrance into a city.
Yeah. I don't think I ever pulled that word. I'm so used to pulling the same word. So
yeah, this actually looks familiar. The word G4439, poulet, gate. Look, see, wall, in the wall of either a city or a palace or a town or a temple, a prison. Metaphor. Okay, here's the point. The access or entrance into any state.
Right, and this state being the kingdom of heaven. You know,
right. That's right. The access or entrance into the kingdom of heaven, or the eternal life.
And that's where the judges are. What's that? The gates thereof languish.
Mm-hmm.
That word gates is going into the leadership.
Right.
You see?
Jeremiah 14, I think. But let's go back here. That was a point on that. And so that was a precept ultimately to verses, 3, 4, 5, right? So I'll read verse 4 again, or excuse me, verse 5, 2 Esdras 7 and 5. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? Okay, because the sea, going into the sea and to look upon it, that's what everybody wants to do. They want to enter into the promised land. Scriptures talk about basically Israel has a desire, you know, where it says the elect have obtained it. It's in Romans.
Hey, Baba Kashada, brothers on the comment board, put a precept that goes into C's representing the people, Baba Kashada. Let's get everybody involved. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Con. Okay, hold on. Let me get this real quick. I don't see the comment. I don't see the comment.
See what comment?
You said somebody put a comment on the comment board?
No, I was asking somebody to put it.
Oh, Salakia. Okay, I misunderstood you. All right. Let me go back to finding this. I think it says election. I think election.
What
Hath
you looking for?
obtained it. This is it right here. Romans 11:7. Yeah, I don't know how I forgot the name. The verse. This is Romans 11:7. It says, "What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for." That was the point I was making, because that when it says it in Second Ezra 7:5, all right, who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he, gosh, it said if he went
I
not
was
through
gonna
the
say
narrow house.
go back and get that word for election, and it's gonna answer that question.
Right. All right. So let's go back here, because we just read that Second Ezra 7:5. Okay. I'm gonna read Romans 11:7, which is a precept to that. It says, "What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded." Okay, which shows that there is an elect within the nation of Israel. Okay. You said you wanted that word election, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That word is ekloge. Strong's G number is 1589.
I love that
And
word.
yep. And it says the act of picking out or choosing, the act of the Most High's free will by which, before the foundation of the world, he decreed his blessings to certain persons.
Okay, stop right there. Those certain persons are the men that the Lord Yahweh Shai prayed for in John 17. You see? Prayed that we be able to go through the straight gate. You see? So that world that decreed his blessings to certain persons, it's only certain persons on the planet that's going to be able to endure until the end. You see? Keep reading.
Right? The second definition says the decree made from choice by which he determined to bless certain persons through Mashiach by grace alone.
You see that? So Yahweh Shai died for the first half of the elect, the 144,000, then everybody else after them. So the 144,000 is the 12,000 men from each tribe, but that innumerable multitude is those that believed on their word because Yahweh Shai prayed to Yahweh that they would. Okay? So when Yahweh Shai comes back, it's only certain persons that's going to be delivered. 1/3 of Israel, 2/3 of Israel is going to be destroyed when the Lord come back. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Go keep on reading.
It says a thing or person chosen, the Most High's elect.
You see that? So that's who's gonna be able to make it through the straight gate. That's gonna be the one. And then we got the precept. Issachar hopeful soldier. I believe that's your one-a-thon. Shalom, brother. Right? Isaiah 17, 12 and 13. It says, woe to the multitude of many people which make noise, right? Like the noise of the seas, and to the rushing of nations that make rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. You see? So in certain precepts, people are being likened in the seas, right? What the brother posted and what we was going into prior to that.
That's right.
All right. Verse 13. Okay, yeah, we read it.
Yeah,
The
that's
water,
it.
brother.
Yeah, count the water, brother. I believe that was both verses. All right, going back here to, well, I think that was the let me make sure I got the right tab. Hold on. That was everything on this definition for election, ekloge. And let me make sure this is the point. That was the point as well. Well, I'm gonna read the second part of the verse where it says the election, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. So who's the rest? The rest of
As a matter
Israel.
of fact, keep reading.
Yeah. Okay. Well, of course. Yeah. Verse 8 says, according as it is written, the Most High have given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day.
Right. So when you go into seeing and hearing, if you look those, we ain't got to look those up. Somebody
Right.
else can look it up on your own time. But when you go into those words, they go into seeing and hearing as understanding. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So you got 2/3 that's not going to understand. You got 1/3 that's going to understand. And this chapter is going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Letting you know whether you take the straight gate or whether you take the broad gate. You see, it's showing you what's going to happen to both sides. Pursuant to Sirach chapter 2, it says, prepare yourself for temptation if you come to serve the Lord. And when you get down in that chapter, it goes into how the Lord is going to defend those that stay, and he's not going to defend those that get weak. You see? So it's all let's just talk about Israel, though.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
All right, we're going to keep that in mind. You got it.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it all, because Israel is the only nation that's even eligible for salvation. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so going back to Second Ezra 7, all right, we read verse 5, verse 6. Well, let me read the second part of verse 5 again. It says, if he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? Which is going into, we gotta go through a time of tribulation, man, to enter into the kingdom. All right, that's the understanding of it. Okay, and that includes the elect. Jacob's trouble. Everybody wants to duck and dodge and act like Jacob's trouble is already passed, or that there's no need for a transition for this devil to go down and all this stuff, because that'll cause great turmoil in the earth. All right, listen, the narrow is going to come. Okay, the narrow is going to come, and anybody who's not able to endure that, like the scripture says, if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. Okay, so the Lord is only dealing with the elect in these times. Okay, continuing on in verse 6, it says there also is another thing. So it's giving them like another example. A city is builded and set upon a broad field and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow and set in a dangerous place to fall. So that city that's builded, all right, again, is represented of the kingdom. City being builded and set upon a broad field, full of all good things. That's what you want, right? That's what you want. And everyone wants to enter into the kingdom. Even wicked niggas, they would love to be in the kingdom, but you got to earn that. Okay, any nigga just can't just crip walk into the kingdom. Okay, you got to be basically counted as a joint heir, with the Howard shot.
I want to
Right?
say, shit, we know one Crip that want to stay down here in Crip.
Yeah. Well,
So we done
yeah,
seen it. We speaking from experience.
yeah. Facts. Yeah. Damn. I ain't even. Yeah.
Yeah.
Facts.
I
You
say
know what
he
I'm
want.
saying?
Yeah, I say he want to stay down here.
Yeah. That's on him. He can stay down here. He gonna stay down here unless what I mean. He gonna stay down here. Well, these bodies ain't gonna. These bodies ain't. They're not even. They're not even eligible to enter into the kingdom. All right,
Right.
these bodies, the only thing that's gonna make it into the chairs is our spirits, man. Okay, that's the only thing that's gonna make it into the chairs. These bodies, they gotta go. All right, we're gonna be transformed. We're gonna get new bodies. You know what I mean? Upgraded bodies. So you shouldn't be all worried about losing this body. You know what I mean? This shit is just like a shell. Okay, our spirit is the thing that's eternal, right? But continuing on in verse 7, the entrance thereof is narrow, talking about the entrance into this city with the broad field and good things. It says, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were fire on the right hand and on the left hand, and on the left a deep water.
Right. That's what I'm
You know?
saying. So you had water. I would say water was the time of Noah. Fire
Mhm.
is the time to come. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you pick up little things like that as you read going through this thing, man. You see, fire and water. It's only one
Mhm.
way to get through it.
That's right.
To be elected.
That's right. Yeah, I think
You
about
got
that.
it.
I think about that. that scene in Shrek when they had to cross that bridge in the lake of fire to get into the palace. You know what I'm saying? I think about that, like when I first heard the scripture, that was like kind of what I thought about, you
Yeah.
know. And verse 8, it says, because if you fall into the fire, you done for. You know what I'm saying? And most people, and only one person at a time can go. You know what I mean? You got to
Yep.
have
And
your
if you
own
can't, and if
individual
you
walk.
can't swim, you bound to drizzle.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if you go back that far. I know you don't go back that far.
No, probably not. Yeah, probably. I thought you just made it up.
No, Snoop Dogg said that shit when I was
Oh,
12,
okay.
nigga.
Oh shit, yeah, you
If
got me
that
beat.
bitch can't swim, she bound to drizzle.
That's how some people say.
It's lucky, man. Go ahead.
Uh, a Crip Gadite, right? Anyway, and the only verse 8, and the only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be but one man go there at once. Again, nobody can walk this walk with you, man. That's why another precept come to mind. Be fully persuaded in your own mind, man.
Yeah,
Okay, and make full.
work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
Actually, I'm gonna get that one. I'm gonna get that one instead, because that's good as well. Make full proof of thy ministry as well.
Mhm.
Another one, right? But this one, Philippians 2:12, it says, "Wherefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling." Okay, for it is Yahweh Shemel Shai, which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. All right, so the spirit that's on us to do these lessons and strive for the kingdom and do the work. All right, that's Yahweh Shemel Shai working in us. So we have to embrace that and ask the Lord to continue to keep us in that spirit. Okay, because every individual is going to have to walk this walk on their own when it comes to having your own personal relationship with Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
Right. And
All
then
right.
also in the hour of temptation. You know what
Con.
I'm saying? It say he gonna keep those that keep his word. That's how
Mm-hmm.
you get through the straight gate, man.
Con. Con. That's right. Um, all right, back in 2nd Ezra 7 and 9, if this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? Right. So, your father gave you a large city, all right, and set it upon a broad field full of good things. But in order to get there, in order to receive that inheritance, you gotta cross, a fiery trial. You gotta pass the test. Just like
That's just like
yeah.
for Salaki. That's just like for people who would never watch Power. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Ghost set up a fund for his son, and his son got to the point to where he was being just like him, and he was thugging so hard. He was like, "Look, I got a trust set up for you, but you're gonna have to go to college and you're gonna have to graduate to get it." You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Thinking that that's going okay. Well, he gonna focus on school. You watch Power. Tariq say, "Shit, I'm gonna sell dope and I'm gonna graduate from college."
Yeah, he said I'm gonna get both.
But the point I'm making is you have to achieve a goal to receive the inheritance. You got
Right.
it.
We was gonna make the same point, so that's the spirit.
We
Verse 10, it
always
says,
do, brother.
right, facts. Verse 10, it says, and I said, it is so, Lord. So basically Ezra understood. Um, he understood, right? He said, then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. You see? So, the scriptures that, say, I have not seen nor ear hath heard what the Lord has prepared for them that love him. Well, that thing that's prepared, right? Yahweh said, I go to prepare a place for thee, right? That which is being prepared is going to need to be earned in the form of our loyalty, okay, and our faith and our
Obedience
and our
unto death.
works and our obedience. That's right. Okay, obedience, man. All right. Now it says, verse 10, it says, because for their sakes I made this world, talking about Israel. Okay. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Okay. So basically, when Adam, did what he did, and he fell from grace, basically it was determined that, okay, in order to enter in to the kingdom now there's going to be this large, um, dangerous place, that you're going to have to pass in order to enter in. Okay, that's basically all the turmoils that's going to come in the final judgment.
And
Okay, and
that
even just
Adam,
getting, that's right.
and that Adam that's mentioned right here is Yahweh Shai. You can link that with 1 Corinthians 15. You see it talk about the first Adam and the last Adam. Well, the first Adam was Yahweh Shai. And it tells you the first Adam is Yahweh Shai. And he came back. The first Adam and the last Adam, that means he left and came back. It was the first and the last. You
Right.
see? And in between Yahweh Shai, for those who could receive it, you had Isaac, you had Solomon, that he was that angel in the wilderness. Oh, I would say the Lord been here the whole time. So all these Old Testament junkies, they're talking about it ain't no Messiah and Yahweh Shai's idol. They can never explain it. They'll try to say it's David, but that's biblically inaccurate, right? So that first Adam and that last Adam. You see, we mentioned earlier that Yahweh Shai wanted to make right what didn't go how it was supposed to. Well, it did go how it was supposed to go, but Adam was given the kingdom, right? Solomon was given the kingdom. Okay, Yahweh Shai earned the kingdom. That's the difference. You see, you got it.
That's right. All right, and there's the precept to that. All right, for those taking notes, 1 Corinthians 15 and 45. All right, going back to 2 Ezra 7 and verse 12, it says, then were the entrances of this world made narrow. You see, when Adam made that transgression. Oh, another precept come to mind. We got to get the precepts. Can never
Yes,
have,
sir.
you know,
And
well,
so
Satan
this
can
chapter
never
so
have too
long, we might
many.
have 3 parts, but we
Yeah, I was
gonna
thinking about
flush it
that.
out.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
we
thinking
gonna
about
flush
that.
it out, Lord willing.
Con. What was it? Chapter 1 or chapter 2? You see.
What you looking for?
This is I think it's in chapter 2. Basically, the Lord made the world for our sakes, but sought out many inventions. Here we go. Oh, you know what? That ain't the one. That's another one. I guess it is. I guess the one I'm looking for is in see me inventions. Okay, it's in Ecclesiastes. This is the specific one I wanted. The precept to this is Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 23. But the one I had in my head was this one. Ecclesiastes 7 and 29. It says, lo, this only have I found, that Yahweh Shem Yahushua hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. Okay. And really the man
Get that word for inventions.
right. Really the man is talking about is the sons of God. You get the word inventions is H2810 Chasab 1. So it's the plural version of Chasab, which means to think, to esteem, calculate, imagine,
Man, you say
to
calculate.
devise. Yeah, calculate,
Yeah,
yeah.
calculate, compute.
Devise, I'm looking at that one as well.
Yep.
Invent, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, pretty much the way of the serpent. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Other philosophies, strange
Yeah,
women.
that's right. To forecast, to imagine, invent.
For the sons of God to continue to fall,
Right.
generation after generation.
Right. That's why it says it. It only comes up what Hassad one is pretty much just comes up engine, device, invention, contrivance, either an actual machine or a mental machination, like an invention. You know what I mean? And that's going into really, this is a precept to the MOTB, really. You know
Man,
what I'm saying?
AI, all that shit.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Trying to find ways to, outsmart the most high, and you know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Arts and devices. You can see here. Arts and devices. Right.
yep.
So
You say something about machine up above that?
yeah, I saw it was engines.
No, I'm talking about them, what you just zoomed in on.
Uh
It's
oh,
probably just said it again.
yeah, warlike engines, especially for casting darts or stones. Like this is like the physical version of it.
Signifying a machine ingeniously
Right.
constructed.
That's right.
Okay.
Balista. Yeah. Like
Why is it
you.
in Daniel? Yeah.
All that. The English word engineer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so that was the precept that came to mind. So let's go back to Second Ezra 7. And we were in verse 12. All right, it says, then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. All right, that's why this world sucks. We complain about our jobs, our women leaving us. You know what I mean? We got to goddamn, watch what we eat. Can't drink tap water, can't breathe the air. You know what I'm saying? Through, right? But it says they are few and evil, full of perils and very painful. Right? So we got to go through all this stuff, man.
I want to say,
All
and
right.
that's I want to say, and we are going through all those things. That's why Jake selling out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why Jake just want to be comfortable. That's why Jake willing to bend the knee. You see,
Come.
going
Okay.
through the straight gate. That's what I'm saying. It talks about the beast, his image, his mark. It talk about that. That's attached to the hour of temptation. See, Jake's so busy telling you that the mark of the beast ain't the microchip that they don't ever be. Have you ever heard any of them talk about Revelation 3 and the hour of temptation and hold it on to that crown? I haven't.
Right.
And I ain't seen no brothers post no videos of them saying it. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't even talk about it. They don't even link those precepts together.
Yeah.
those
Come.
two, those two chapters ain't got nothing to do with each other. Let them tell it.
Come.
You got it.
Yep. This is verse 15. It says, now therefore, why disquietest thou thyself, seeing thou art but a corruptible man? And this is the angel still talking to Ezra, why you don't like trouble yourself over these things, bro? Because you in the flesh, you're gonna have to go through hell, right? It says, and why art thou moved, whereas thou art but mortal, right? Because Ezra didn't want to be mortal. He's like, man, I don't want to go through this shit. Like, how do I become immortal, right? And but we all have to wait. We all have to wait according to the time that the Most High has appointed. And that's the main thing is time. That's why this devil, he trying to do everything. We not wondering. We understand why, like shit like what just happened this past weekend. Trump going in and doing his thing, flexing his muscles in Venezuela and taking the oil. Like he has a short time. Like he can't get it back. So he's doing everything he can do to while he still has his blessing. So we understand it really through prophecy. Um, but it says, verse 16, why hast thou not considered in thy mind this thing that is to come rather than that which is present? Right. And that's what we should be keeping our mind on. All right. Is the time to come. Okay. Set your affection on things above. I'm gonna get that real quick because
Yep.
that's all we have to look forward to. Okay. This world, we don't have nothing to look forward to in this world. You know what I mean? Our woman, our family, our mom, dad, brothers, in the flesh and all these things, they're not, they don't have a insurance policy of like, okay, yeah, they're gonna make it for sure, 100%. We don't even know if we're gonna make it. You see? So this is Colossians 3:1. It says, if ye then be risen with Mashiach, seek those things which are above. All right. Being risen with him means you being born again, being washed with the water of the word. You are now a believer in Yahweh Shai, and you're casting off the old ways that you walked when you was in the world. Right. So it says, seek those things which are above, talking about the heavenly things to come.
Right.
All right.
So if you seeking those things which are above, that means you've put off the things that are beneath. You don't care about this place. You ain't even worried about this body no more. You see? That's what Yahushua did. He was so he was so not worried about the world at all. He even knew that body had to go. You know? That's what that body was for. You got it.
That's right. All right. It says, where Mashiach sitteth, all right, on the right hand of the Most High. All right. Well, that's in the heavens. Okay. Yahushua is currently where he is residing right now. Okay. It says, set your affection, all right, on things above, not on things on the earth. Okay. And that's
What Jake that's what Jake doing. They taking the way that's broad.
right.
You see? They not going through the straight gate. They not even aware of the prophecies. They don't know nothing about the prophecies. They know they Israelites and they can make money off of it. They can make themselves comfortable off of it. You know what I'm saying? They going to the gate that lead to they going through the gate that lead to destruction. Just like the prophecies say, we've been talking about it all day. Zechariah 13 and 8. You know what I'm saying? We might as well get that eventually, but yeah, we done said it too many times and not get it.
No, we can get it right. Well, already got a Zechariah tab. I already got it right here. Boom, that's the spirit.
Good.
Zechariah 13 and 8. Okay. It says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land. Actually, I'm gonna get verse 7. I think we should start up one verse. This is Zechariah 13 and 7. It says, awake, O sword, against my shepherd and against the man that is my fellow, said the Lord of hosts. All right, this is talking about the Lord judging his own people. Okay. It says, smite the shepherd and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn mine hand upon the little ones. Okay. Ultimately, the false prophets, because when you read up earlier in this chapter, it talks about what false prophets, right? And so those who are, led by the false prophets, they're going to be led into destruction. The blind leading the blind, going to both fall into the ditch, right? And it says, and I will turn mine hand upon the little ones. Okay. And the Lord is ultimately going to do a culling. He's going to do a culling of the tares, the chaff, the unprofitable individuals of the Lord's, the crop. It's going to be burnt. They're going to be burnt up. He's going to do a culling.
Brute beast made to be taken and destroyed.
Right. That's right. Okay. Verse 8, it says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, okay, that land talking about Babylon the Great here in America, saith Yahweh Shem Yahushai, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein.
You see? And that's what Second Esdras, this portion of the chapter is going into. You see? It's what's going to happen to Israel in the day of judgment. You see? Going through tribulation to get into the kingdom. Right? Because from the time we started in Second Esdras, it started going back into the creation, into the history, up to where he at. You know what I'm saying? And then up to what's to come. You see? You got it.
Yep. It says, but the third part, but the third shall be left therein, talking about the elect. Okay. And I'll bring the third part through the fire, and I will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried.
That's what I'm saying. That's going through the straight gate, leading to the hour of temptation, right? Into the deliverance. That's it. Read that again.
Con. Zechariah 13 and 9, it says, and I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried.
And what?
It says, they shall call on my name.
They shall call on my name, right? As we going through the straight gate, like Elder Yahshua always talked about the 3 holy children. They walked into the fire praising the Lord. Come on now. We reading it. We ain't just saying it. We reading it.
That's
okay. Right? They shall call on my name and I will hear them. I will keep thee in the hour of temptation.
Yep, that's right.
You see, being kept in the hour of temptation is saying no to the mark. Right?
That's right.
To hell with the beast. To hell with the mark. To hell with the image. To hell with all that. No, that's what I'm saying. We've put this world off to go through the straight gate. Right? He that I will say he that turns away from sin maketh himself a prey. You see? That's what all this is talking about. It's all talking about the same thing. We understand it. Call Allah Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. You see? So when you have a thorough understanding of the scriptures, you fight for the scriptures. You roll with the scriptures. You walk in the spirit. You see? It's a different spirit on us than that's on them. That's what I'm saying. The wide gate and the broad way and the straight way. That's two different spirits. Go ahead.
Right. It says, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my power.
You see? Now that's those same spirits that it's talking about at Klage. You see? Certain persons that the Lord was going to put the spirit on to follow Yahweh Shai to him. That's what it's all about. You know? Go ahead.
All right.
Through Esdras' questions, we got our answers to how we going to get through it. Because all the same questions Esdras had is the same questions we had.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We come in his stead. So him asking those questions back then is so we can answer them now.
That's right. Yep. Nothing new under the sun. Okay. So let's go back here. Damn, it's already been, hold on. Okay, yeah, we might need to break it in 3 parts. All right, this is 2nd Esdras 7 and 15. Actually, hold on.
I say you read that already, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I think you at 17.
Okay, yeah, I did. Yeah, I read verse 16 already. All right, 2nd Esdras 7 and 17. It says, Then answered I and said, O Lord, that bearest rule, thou hast ordained in thy law that the righteous should inherit these things, but that the ungodly should perish. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for wide, for they have done wickedly that have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide. Okay, so breaking that down.
I'll say all Israel gonna have to go through the hour of temptation.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Yeah.
We all gonna have to go through it. It says all. When you go into that word all, it's pos. And it talks about individually.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So everybody gonna have to go through it. What it say? Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Through much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom. We get it. And we embracing it. Because we know that the Lord gonna be with us throughout. You see? We know the Lord is gonna be with us. We believe the scriptures. We have an understanding and we believe in the understanding that we got. See, ain't no doubt in us. Go ahead.
Yeah, we understand that we have to earn it back. You know, it ain't gonna just be handed to us on a platter. You know what I mean? Like like how in the garden we just, we didn't have to plant nothing. We didn't have to do no work. Like we just got everything that we needed. It ain't gonna be like that again. You know what I mean? We got to earn it back. All right. So it says, verse 18 again, nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for the wide. So precept to that would be 1 Peter 4, 1 Peter, I'm sorry, well, both of them, but 1 Peter 3 and I think it's 14. Yeah. All right. This is 1 Peter 3 and 13. It says, and who is he that will harm you if you be followers of that which is good? But and if you suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled. Okay. ultimately, because why? Because you're going to be you're laying up your treasures in heaven. You're going to be rewarded, all right, a hundredfold, okay, for the suffering for righteousness' sake. So when it goes into the righteous suffering straight things, that's suffering for righteousness' sake. We hoping for a recompense in the spirit. Okay. It says, for they have done wickedly, excuse me, for they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide. So that Jacob, matter of fact, I'm gonna get that real quick. Um, I'm gonna get that in Jacob's trouble. What was that, Jeremiah 30? Right? Because I don't know why Jake be thinking that they can outrun the curses, man. This is they can you can follow the commandments out of the curses. Like, all right, if you do the commandments, you ain't gonna you ain't gonna have to suffer no tribulation. Nah, it's we all gotta go through it, but it's about the salvation out of it, right? So it's Jeremiah 30:7. Okay, it says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble." Here's the key point: but he shall be saved out of it. Who's the he? The elect of Israel. Okay,
Get that word for saved.
kind of. You should be saved. Uh, the word here is yeshai, um, to save, to be delivered, to be liberated, saved in battle, be victorious.
That's what I'm saying. They get the victory over the beast, over his image, over his mark.
That's a classic already. It's a
That's what it
classic.
boiled down to. And I'm saying you got to make it through the straight gate to get there.
Con.
You see?
Con. That's right. So that, I mean, that's straight to the point right there. You know what I'm saying?
Those that have ears to hear, let them hear.
That's right. Okay. So you being saved out of it is salvation at the end of the day. You got to be saved from something. So yeah, Jake gonna go through the straight things, right? All right, to the intent that you can make it across the bridge. Okay, not go through it and then fall over. You want to make it across to that wide, city. And verse 19 it says, "And he said unto me, there's no judge above the most high, and none that hath understanding above the highest. For there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the law of Yahweh Shem Yahushua that is set before them." Niggas always bucking up against the Lord, thinking that they can do their own thing, being stiff-necked, ignoring the prophets, warning of the prophets of the Lord, right? Verse 21, for the Most High have given straight commandment to such as came, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should do to avoid punishment. So every generation came in, and up until that time, of course, Israel, received the law. They knew like what to do, what not to do. Even the Northern Kingdom, which was kind of relatively recently removed at that point, still maybe a couple hundred years before, where they were removed out of Samaria, they knew they had everything available to them as far as the law and everything, to know, okay, this is what the Lord commanded to do, this is what he said don't do. And they ended up just completely squandering everything that the Lord gave him. And same thing with the Southern Kingdom at this specific point in time, right? And it says that verse 22, nevertheless they were not obedient unto him, but spake against him, and imagined vain things. Okay, so that's the rebellion. That's what is that in Deuteronomy 32? Jeshurun has waxed fat and kicked. That's Israel getting comfortable. Okay, yeah, Deuteronomy 32:15. Israel got comfortable. Okay, and pretty much bucked up against against the Lord. But the Lord, the one that put us in the comfortable position, right? Deuteronomy 32:15, it says, but Jeshurun, which is Yesharwan, okay, which is Yashar is upright, okay. So basically, the upright ones wax fat, okay. You eating good. You got shelter. You got a bunch of open land to graze. Okay, and then what you end up doing, you end up kicking, your shepherd. You end up kicking the one that's overseeing that you'll be safe and that you continue to thrive. Right? You kicking against your master. That's why what did Yahushua said to Paul, Saul, why persecutest thou me?
Kicks against the
Where's
pricks.
That's it. You know what I mean? To kick against the I think it's the pricks, right? Oh, I misspelled, man. Come on, man. They need to get AI on Blue Letter Bible,
Just type
man.
in, just type in pricks.
Yeah, I got it right here. You just type in one word wrong and then it don't pull up. I want to get
So
some of these.
you gotta get it in one word and you gotta spell it right.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, damn, like, they gotta get, but
Yeah,
it's
they ain't
okay.
playing no games. The what you say you want it?
Right. Right. You gotta enunciate. Okay, here we go. It breaks it down right here in the definition. So the word for pricks is kentron. Okay. It says
What you say, Kentron?
yeah, it sounds like a nigga name on the low. I ain't gonna
I was
lie.
just gonna say the same shit.
Yeah.
That sounds like somebody's cousin.
Yeah, facts. That's what it says. Kentron.
And
Okay,
what's the
from Kenteo.
definition?
Right. Definition. So it says a sting, that of bees, scorpions, um, right, and then but here's the actual one here: an iron goad, for urging the oxen, horses, and other beasts of burden. Hence the proverb to kick against the goad or to kick against the pricks means to offer vain and perilous or ruinous resistance. So you
Oh,
you
okay, it's
you
just like what's that man yeah, the master, the ox know his owner and ask the master's crib.
Isaiah 1, yeah, kind. But my people do not know. Laden with
Yeah,
iniquity, you
yeah.
know, kind.
But
You know,
you see how the precepts, when you read them, it take you to other precepts. You know what I'm
kind,
saying? Even because we all got our Bibles with the precepts in the margins. You know what I'm saying? But we done had them so long to where now it's in us.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah, a whole lot of precepts done came out tonight.
Yeah, kind, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And they still flowing. So let's go.
kind. Well, we're kind of at the point where we have to decide: are we gonna do this chapter in two parts or in three? Because we're basically at an hour, and I just read verse 22, so I can like read one more verse, one or two more verses, and we can cut it, or we can try to go down to verse 35.
Let's try to go down to verse 35.
Okay, cool. All right, so this is continuing on here, Second Ezra 7, and I read verse 22. Verse 23 says, "And deceived themselves by their wicked deeds, and said of the Most High that He is not, and knew not His ways." Basically, just said like the Lord, basically saying the Lord don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Basically, through their actions. And
Mhm.
that's why the Lord judged Israel heavily, and the judgment is not even fulfilled yet because Israel's still acting crazy. Okay, it says verse 24, but his law have they despised and denied his covenants, and and his statutes have they not been faithful.
And that's the
And
thing. Look at the 2/3. They know they Israelites.
yeah,
They telling you keep the laws, keep the laws, keep the bro. These niggas even willing to tell you that if the heathen keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, they can get in.
yeah,
They can get deliverance. They can get salvation. It say they despise the law. They despise this covenants, but they the ones telling you. You see this shit?
mm-hmm.
They the ones telling you to keep the law. Meanwhile, they wicked as hell.
Come on.
2/3 of the nation of Israel is wicked as hell.
Yep.
Yahushua chapter 3, Matthew chapter 23 was talking to Israel. He was talking to the 2/3. And you know how the 2/3 talk shit back? They had him killed. They put him up to be put to death by the Edomites, by the Romans. You see? They didn't want to go through the straight gate then. They don't want to go through the straight gate now. Crucify him, crucify him. Let his blood be on us and our children. Okay, boom. Here it come. Let this blood be on us and our children. Yeah. Every generation since then, we done paid for that. Mm-hmm. They done paid for that. Excuse me.
Right.
They done paid for that. Because Lord willing, we those spirits, we go back through that line that didn't get, all the righteous got delivered, died before the flood. None of the righteous died in the flood. And the Yahshua had to correct me on the highways and the byways about that a couple of weeks ago. So you know I got that one. It's up for now. Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, well, it makes sense because, you know, what does the scripture say? It is easy for a Lord to reward a man according to his works in the day of his death. So if you know, like look at Enoch, for example, he walked with the Most High. So the Lord said, you know what? I'm going to just take him back up to the spirit world. Same thing with Elijah, you know? So he's going to have mercy on those that, you know, are glorifying him, you know? And there's certain deaths that are worse than others, you know?
I was saying, Yahweh Shai got beamed up. You know what I'm saying? When he got resurrected.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We always got to put Yahweh Shai in there when we talk about getting beamed up. He finished his course and got beamed up. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. He's the first fruit of the first fruit. You know? So going back to 2nd Ezra 7 and 20, I read 24. Well, let me read it here. It says, in his statutes they have not been faithful and have not performed his works. Verse 25, and therefore Esdras, for the empty are empty things, and for the full are the full things. It reminds me of to the clean, or excuse me, to the pure is everything clean, but to the
yep.
How's it go?
To the pure, all things are pure.
Yeah, that's right. And just get that real quick. This is this is it here. Titus 1:15. All right, it says, unto the pure all things are pure, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure. So basically anything you tell, you know, a wicked nigga, he's not gonna get with the program. So you could give him the law, statutes, and commandments, and you know, give him all these things, and he's gonna squander it. You know, he going.
One of the main laws is the Deuteronomy 22. You know what I'm saying? That's pure because that's the law.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they turned that into what they turned that into. You know what I'm saying? The accusation of what they be talking about. Like, come on, bro. That ain't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead. That's a whole other topic for a whole other day.
Yeah, everything. Nothing's off limits. Nothing's off limits for a nigga to the
man.
You know. So going back to that here in Titus, it says, but unto them that are undefiled, but to them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure, but even their mind and conscience is defiled.
Get that word for conscience. Get conscious, then get defiled.
That's right. Okay. Conscience is sune decis. I think I'm gonna let Esau say that one. Okay. Sunai decis. All right. It says conscience, the conscience of anything, the soul, as distinguishing between that which is is morally good and bad, which these niggas do not have the capacity to do.
Right.
Promoting, you gonna say something?
Uh-uh.
Okay. Promoting to do uh, the former and shun the latter, condemning one and commending one and condemning the other. All right. So we should be promoting to do that which is morally good, okay,
Mhm.
and commending that, all right, and condemning those things which are bad. Um, the conscience, co-perception, the conscience of anything. That's pretty much let's see here. Anything else?
Hold on. It says something about a noble origin. Go back up. Go back up a little bit more.
That's it. Yeah, I got
Hold
it right
on.
here. This one, right?
Yeah. It says the
Uh
soul is distinguishing between what is morally good and bad. All right,
mhm.
hold up. If some scroll down a little bit more.
Yeah, that was the definition we just read. And then I was gonna
Yeah.
see if there was anything else down here. Uh let's see, it says for conscience sake, because I can go
Because
to the
conscience is impressed and governed by the idea of the Most High, and so understands that griefs are to be what's that? Are to be born according to the Most High's will. You see that?
hmm
Yeah. Read that again. I'm squinting hard than a hoe.
yeah, my bad. I'm just looking at this. It says because conscience is impressed and governed by the idea of the most high, and so understands that griefs are to be born according to the most high's will. That's in accordance to 1 Corinthians 10. Okay. Um, I want to see if there's anything specifically for the verse that we just read. Um,
That's it remind me of Eklage when
right.
they talk about
Titus.
those spirits. You know what I'm saying? Those certain persons that the Lord was gonna put the spirit on to follow the Lamb.
Let me see. Titus 1 and 15. It says, a mind conscious of wrongdoing. Okay. Conscience, Ecclesiastes,
Yeah, predestination come to mind when I hear that.
Wisdom of Solomon 17 and 11 quotes that. Yeah, that's pretty much I wonder what Wisdom of Solomon 17 says. 17 quotes that. All right, it says for wickedness, Wisdom of Solomon 17 and 11, for wickedness condemned by her own witness is very timorous, and being pressed with conscience always forecasteth grievous things. So that word conscience, that's why I looking up
What is timorous? You know what that is?
let me look it up here. Verse 11, timorous. Look it up.
He said, look it up, nigga.
Right. Facts. Why don't you just let me
Oh man, that nigga
copy?
used to be hilarious.
Okay, here we go. Timorous describes someone or something as fearful, timid, or lacking confidence. So basically, timid.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah. So it says, for wickedness condemned by her own witness, because this is talking about the chapter. There's a chapter to talk about when the Egyptians was receiving those apparitions during the Lord's judgment.
Mhm.
You know, when He caused that great darkness over the land and the things that they were
But
seeing.
that's chapter 17.
Kind of, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was talking about how because they were wicked, you know what I'm saying? So wickedness is condemned by the own thing, its own testimony or the things that it sees. All right. It says, and it's very timid or timorous, fearful, and being pressed with conscience, because their conscience was condemning them, right? It was always forecasting grievous things. So they had high levels of anxiety because they knew that they was wicked. So they were like well, shit, our judgment is coming, and it's just, you know. And so that's pretty much that same Greek word there, conscience, that was in this word here. There was in for Titus, what was that? Titus 1:15.
Mhm.
So going back here, so that's the word for conscience, okay, and then defiled, okay. Strong's G 3392, Mia Eno. It says, to dye with another color to stain. Think about the have a stain in your garment, you know.
Mhm.
It says to defile, pollute, contaminate the soil, to sully, defile with sins.
Yep.
Okay.
Ceremonially or royally or
Mm.
morally.
Yeah. Oh, I see that
Yeah,
there. Yep.
ceremonially or morally
That's right.
defiled.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Anybody can come to the Passover, fashion
Mm-hmm.
shows, you know what I'm saying?
Con.
All that other stuff.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So that was those two words there. Okay. And going back to, because we just read it, to get the point of to the pure, all things are pure. Okay. And basically anybody that's defiled and unpure, um, nothing is pure to them, right? So that's what this is going into. All right. For the empty are empty things, and for the full are full things. So we're full of the spirit. So we're going to receive, we're going to receive an abundance. Okay. Those that are empty and unprofitable to the Lord, they're just gonna get cast to the wayside. All right. It says, verse 26, and behold, the time shall come that these tokens which I have told thee shall come to pass. Okay. A token is a sign. So the signs that the angel told Ezra, okay, the times shall come. He was saying that it's going to come to pass. It says, and the bride shall appear, okay, which is representative of the elect of the nation of Israel, starting with 144,000. And she coming forth shall be seen, that now is withdrawn from the earth. So even at that time, there was a remnant, but, you know, basically like everybody wasn't woken up. You know what I mean? It wasn't the time yet for the bride, to be revealed. Now we're in those times where the bride is preparing and adorning herself for the bridegroom, Matthew 25, right? Um, okay, verse 27, it says, and whosoever is delivered from the foresaid evils shall see my wonders. Okay.
Right? Talk about the salvation,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what it's going into. Right? It says, and whoso is delivered, right, from the foresaid evils, right? Because Ezra's asking, "Who is me? Who's gonna what I'm gonna do in those days?" Because he had
Mm-hmm.
already been told he gonna come back. So he like, okay, well then, what I'm gonna do then?
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's talking about now, right? Keep reading.
Verse 28, it says, for my son Yahweh Shai shall be revealed with those that be with him, those that be with him being his wife.
That's
Okay.
what I'm
The
saying. What
bride.
you mean this ain't? What you mean the Apocrypha ain't canon?
Right.
Canon,
Yeah.
canonical. It ain't
Right.
canonical.
Right.
The
Yeah.
fuck out of here, loser.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, tripping.
man,
You know.
shut up. You know what I'm saying? Read
Mm-hmm.
that again.
Yeah, this is second Ezra 7:28. It says, for my son Yahweh Shai shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years. Okay. So Yahweh Shai, this is talking about the actual man Yahweh Shai that came, the only begotten son of the Most High. Okay. And
The
so his
last Adam.
right, exactly. Yeah. So so his not only his second not only his coming as Yahweh Shai, the man, but also his name itself was revealed before he was even born.
Through the line
Um,
of David.
that's right. That's right. Okay. And it's when it says with those that be with him, is talking about those that believed in him. Okay. ultimately the elect. Okay, it says because shortly after his death, burial, and resurrection, that was when heavy prophecy started going out and miracles, and obviously the gospel and the truth was being spread like wildfire. So those that be with him, it wasn't just Yahweh Shai and then he died and that's it. Like it was a whole movement that changed the world afterwards. So this had created shockwaves, ripples throughout history. And second part of the verse says, "And they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years." So it's talking about the time period between Ezra, being on the scene, okay, to when Yahweh Shai was born, okay, and came on the earth. And when you look at the timeline, which I know, like my timelines,
Oh yeah, let's go, champ.
it talks about it talks about how Ezra was around, during the reign of Artaxerxes, pretty much. When you look into it, around 450 BC, we'll say. Okay, and so there's a little bit over 400 years according to the Gregorian calendar or whatever, but it's all of the Lord's timing, and the
But even as
understanding.
we was taught, and even as we teach coming up, we always say it's 500 years between Esdras and Yahweh Shai as an estimate. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So it's well within the timeline, like we was talking about earlier. You know what I'm saying? The Lord don't deal specifically with exact numbers. You know what I'm saying?
right,
You just got to be in the spirit to understand what he's talking about. You know?
con. That's right. That's right.
So years off here and there and all those, as long as you within the time period, knowing what was going on historically, and you know what I'm saying, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, 4 or 5, 20, 25, 30 years here, it
Mm-hmm.
may look like that, but spiritually, this it's all about the time and what was going on more than
Yeah.
it is about Esau putting whoever putting the you know what I'm saying,
A
pinpointing
stop clock.
archaeology and how
Yeah.
Esau be doing all the extra shit.
Yeah. Yeah. You trying to put a stopwatch or a time, like what's the one, an alarm clock on the Lord? Like,
Yeah.
okay, you know what I mean?
Well, this
Like
is
at
14. This is 14 years off, according to my wickedness.
right. Yeah. Yeah. So this must be, debunked.
Right.
But in the next 6 months, it come to pass, and now you're looking dumb as hell. you know. So the Lord, you know what I mean, just to throw, what I mean, throw it off a little bit so that people can't try to just directly try to predict, you know what I mean? Because you know how man is, they're trying to figure out, okay, well, 400 years, but we know we know we in that time period. Like even when we go into certain prophecies in Revelation, we would talk about 350 year time period. Okay, are we gonna lose the faith because the year 2000 prophecy, which niggas love to scoff at, wasn't the Lord didn't come in the year 2000. So all right, well, we're gonna lose the faith now because the clock turned over to 2000. All right, well, the Lord ain't back yet. Well, all right, I'm gonna go back in the world. You see, but we believe the Lord's gonna come back in these times, man. Okay, so we got to keep that faith. And really, 50 years is not like, let's say, a difference of 50 years, right? Like you pretty much, according to Esau's years, and then what's said here, bro. The scripture said 1,000 years is as a day to the Lord. So
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? That's negligible time. Okay, we got to stop. Not saying me and you, but people got to stop thinking so small minded, man. We're dealing with the Most High. All right.
Yeah. One of these chapters coming up, the age of the earth come out.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna get into all that.
Yeah.
But continuing on here, because basically as we continue, it's going to be more and more deeper revelations. Like at first, it was like, I don't want to say entry level, but you know what I mean, like stuff that we get a lot. Second Ezra 5, Second Ezra 6. Like what I mean. And then, but as we go into it, it gets more heavier and heavier and more detailed in the prophecies, um, which is beautiful. So we're blessed to
It
have
go
these.
from milk. It go from milk to meat.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. We're blessed to have these words here. So it says verse 29, it says, after these years, shall my son Mashiach die, and all men that have life. Going into how, of course,
Talk
when
about when the
Yahweh
Holy Spirit come down after the Lord is resurrected,
right.
starting with the apostles.
Well, that was that's verse. You talking about verse 30, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I read verse 29 where it talks
Oh,
about
my bad.
when he died. Yeah, because it says after these years shall my son Mashiach die, because Yahweh Shai, obviously he was crucified, buried, and of course resurrected at that time. And throughout the course of time, we also fell away. Like, of course,
Oh
there
yeah,
was
you're
that.
right.
Yeah, because you had the great awakening,
Yeah.
and we was rejoicing at the fact that we had the spirit of the Lord and we was able to do the miracles and all those things. And then that time that well, I'm gonna get the scripture here in Second Thessalonians. Yeah, here it is. Second Thessalonians, um, verse 2. Excuse me, chapter 2 and verse 3 is the precept to this. It says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there be a falling away first." Okay, talking about the day of Mashiach, right? Because
Mhm.
Paul was saying, look, like we gotta lock in. You know what I mean? The day of Yahweh Shai is at hand. The day of Yahweh Shai is at hand, and he still had knowing that we were gonna fall away for a period of time. He still understood. Look, the day of the Lord is at hand. We gotta do this work. You know what I'm saying? Stay in the spirit, right? But it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come." Talking about the day of the Lord, coming back when Yahushua comes back to redeem Israel. That day shall not come except there come a falling away first. Okay, which the understanding of that is us falling away from the understanding, as a nation, right? And that man of sin being revealed, okay,
Get
throughout
that word for
dispensation.
revealed.
Con. Yep, through dispensation of time, man, the Lord has everything set up to where it's basically all on a timer, man. When the Lord wants things to happen, it's gonna happen. I think I skipped over it. Here we go. The word is apocalypto, um, to uncover. Okay, to uncover, lay open what has been veiled or covered up, to disclose, to make bare, to make manifest, make known, to disclose what before was unknown.
You see that? That's what I'm saying. Through prophecy, yeah, through prophecy, we understand who's who today. You see,
Mhm.
it said that wicked is going to be revealed. You see, so when you think about the three classifications of people going back to the beginning, you had Adam, all the generations of Adam, right? But then you had three classifications. It was the sons of God, the sons of the wicked, and the sons of men. You see, sons being the of God being us, the Israelites, sons of the wicked being Esau and the Edomites, right? Sons of the nations. Sons of men, sons of wicked,
Mhm.
and
And sons of God.
yeah, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
So the other nations. So you got that whole thing set up, and it came out. But in the last days, it was going to be revealed who that wicked is attached to. You see, through prophecy and knowing who's what nation is who, and right. It's all about Jacob and Esau, and the Bible is tracking Jacob and Esau throughout the scriptures, the chosen line, and you know what I'm saying, Esau, and it's all
Mhm.
coming to a head now, right? But we're in a time that we know that that wicked is Esau now. It calls Esau the wicked throughout the whole Bible, right? We know that now because the code has been broken. You see,
Mhm.
we broke the code. The Lord gave us the spirit. We've been talking all this time about eklage, right? And how with certain persons through Yahweh Shai they was gonna get it. We believe we are those people.
Con.
Okay, you got it.
Con. All right. Going back here. That was a point on that precept there. All right, the falling away first had to come before the day of Yahweh Shai, of Yahweh Shai's return. Okay, so that's what that's talking about here in verse 29. Verse 30 says, "And the world shall be turned into the old silence 7 days." All right, which we know seven means completion. And it says, like as in the former judgments, so that no man shall remain. Certain times where basically prophets were scarce. It was kind of a time of just time going by and not a lot of heavy amount of prophecy as in comparison to, times where the Lord said, okay, we're going to raise up the prophets and push this word on a high level. Basically the world being turned into the old silence. 7 days was when we pretty much didn't have the name of the Lord, like we was in captivity heavily. Revelation, the 11th chapter talks about that, right? Basically how we under the thumb of this devil, right? Until the Lord ultimately raises back up. And it
Right.
talks
So
about that.
keep in mind, Esdras is asking, well, what I'm gonna do in those days? You know what I'm saying? And he being told, you know what I'm saying? He know he gonna be back here now with us when the Lord come back. So what's gonna happen to me in those days? Who's gonna deliver me in those days? Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. You got it.
Con.
Look on the comment board. Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, right? We in that time. We believe through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai that we in that time. You see? It say it says for the vision is yet appointed for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. That's what I'm saying. It's not lying. We know through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai that these prophecies, we in the times that this is talking about, and it's not tarrying. You see, we own it. We talking. We telling people it's happening in real time.
That's right.
Bro, from the time you came in to now, how much has it increased moving towards the mark of the beast? For your understanding that that's what it is, and your belief.
Hey, exponentially.
Versus
Exponentially.
mine.
Con.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Versus the apostles.
Heavy.
And the bishops. Come on, man.
Yeah.
We in that though said the Lord been telling the planet. Go ahead.
That's right. I was looking where it says where the Lord told John the Revelator he was gonna prophesy, basically on the other ends of the earth. Somebody could find that, because it goes into verse 30.
I think if you just type in John again, it ought to come up.
Okay, hold on. Let me try that one there. Might be getting the wording not perfect. Yeah, it's not. I know it's a Revelation. But somebody can find it if they find it in time. But it says back in Second Ezra 7 and 31. It says, and after 7 days, the world that awaketh not, that yet awaketh not, shall be raised up, and that die, and that shall die that is corrupt. Okay, so Esau's end, all right, like it talks about in the previous chapter, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Those that follow Esau as well are also going to have his fate. They're going to get destroyed in the second death. Okay, those that are corrupt, those that that are impure, okay, they're not gonna make it, because when the Lord returns, he's gonna start to wake up his men, okay, before he returns, excuse me, right? So it says, after the 7 days, yet awake, that yet awaketh not shall be raised up. Okay, so those are men are gonna come back in the flesh, all right, and they're gonna be able to do what they were brought here to do. Okay, the spirits being brought back to prophesy. Okay, and that shall die that is corrupt. Okay, it says, and the earth shall restore those that are asleep in her, and so shall the dust those that dwell in silence. So we bring it all the time. Ezekiel, 37. Okay, with the dry, or which one is it? 36 or 37 with the dry bones?
37.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Which we don't gotta get into it, but as a reference, Ezekiel 37 and 4, you can start there and read that. All right, Israel waking back up, slowly but surely over time, and ultimately the elect within that going out and prophesying the word, right? It says, the earth shall restore those that are asleep in her, and so shall the dust those that dwell in silence, and the secret places shall deliver the souls that were committed unto them. Okay, again, us coming, the men of the Lord coming back, prophesying the word of Yahweh Shem Shai to the point where judgment is right at the door. That's another sign that we know we're in the end times. We right back preaching the word like we never left. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't a thousand, well, multiple century year period where because depending on how you look at it, but multiple century period, is devil being loose for a little season, okay, and he had us in captivity, for a few hundred years, but now within that captivity, now we got the spirit back on us now. Okay, so that's no coincidence, man. All right, that's indicative that the Lord, his return is at the door. Okay. Verse 33 says, and the Most High shall appear upon the seat of judgment, and misery shall pass away, and the long suffering shall have an end. Right? Revelation 20th chapter talks about those that basically love not their lives unto death. They endured being beheaded, and for the testimony of Yahweh, and now they're sitting on the thrones of judgment, right? So the Lord is going to set all that up. Okay, we'll be joint heirs under him. So everything is going to come through what Yahweh Shem Shai ordains. All right. And even when you read in Revelation, I think it's 7. Let me double check and see. Yeah, this is Revelation 7 and 15. It says, therefore, and it talks about the elect. It's the same chapter that talks about the the elect. You know what I mean? What is it? 12,000 out of each tribe, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are they that. Well, verse 14 it says, and I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, these are they which came out of great tribulation and have washed their robes and made them white.
Whoa. Great tribulation. Oh, what's that?
Right. Right.
Come
Yeah.
on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. It said those that got the victory over the beast, his image, and his mark.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Who the only people that's talking about that? The hopeful elect.
Mm-hmm.
Following the Lamb through the straight gate. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We already know how hard it's gonna be. But the Lord said he with us, right? Let's say, what can separate from the love of Yahweh Shai, man? Nothing. When you read Romans 8 on down, 8 and 32, 28, whatever, around that area.
Mm-hmm.
But to finish that chapter off, go ahead.
All right. And you can read down, you know what I mean? But the point is in verse 17, it says, for the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters, and the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. So no more, tribulation, no more hell, you know what I mean? No more clocking into work, you know what I mean? All the stuff that we got to deal with. And that scripture that I was looking for was Revelation 10 and 11, right? And I saw the verse 10. It says, and I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth, sweet as honey. All right, that's talking about this word. That little book is talking about the word, the scriptures. When eating it up, meaning like the scriptures say, it said to my soul, devour wisdom. I think that's also in Second Ezra. But basically, you internalize the information that's in the book, right? And it's sweet, it's sweet because you get comfort from hearing the word of the Lord. Okay, and it says, as soon as I had eaten it, it was my belly was bitter. The bitter part is that you got to go through that tribulation, which we just read in Revelation chapter 7. Here's a point in verse 11 says, and he said unto me, thou must prophesy again. By the way, John was 90 when Like, well, this was written, I would say 90 AD, I believe. So
something
he
like that.
was hella old, like, you know what I mean? He was very, very, very old um at this point. But it says thou must prophesy
I want to
again.
go back real quick, right quick.
Okay.
It says go back to the part about when he said, well, when I had eaten it, my belly was bitter.
Right. Verse 10. Verse 10.
Yeah,
I'll read
read
it.
that.
You want me to read
Yeah,
it? Okay.
read that verse. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right. Con. This is Revelation chapter 10, verse 10. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter.
Right. So that's likened to us coming into this truth. When it said, when I had eaten it, which means when I understood the scriptures fully, my belly was bitter.
Mm-hmm.
You see, having an understanding of the scriptures and knowing that he was going. It will say once he understood that, because it's gonna tell him, it's telling him he gonna prophesy again. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So he understanding what's going on now at this point. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going on with us. We understand the scriptures. The bitter part done came, but we know now we at the end. You see, just like he felt that at the end, but I know I got to keep pushing. I know I'm gonna have to come back. Well, he done came back for those that can receive it.
That's right.
You see, so him having that understanding and writing it down and being brought back to break it down in this time, which that happened, we believe. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's our turn to usher in the kingdom of heaven.
Con.
We believe it's gonna happen in our times, based off prophecy, based off faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah and the prophecies they've given us the understanding of. You got it.
Con. That's right. You know, a lot of people they're not able to um digest the bitter, so they vomit it up,
Right.
you know. Um, so verse 11 is the precept that I was looking for earlier, where it says, and he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. Okay. And so ultimately here, you know, in Babylon the Great, all right, we're prophesying again as a collective group of prophets. We're prophesying again, just like how it mentions uh, in, you know, what does it say here? The earth shall restore, verse 32, you know, the earth shall restore those that are asleep in her, right? Really, verse 31 as well. You know what I'm saying? You know, the world, you know, that the world that yet awaketh not shall be raised up. And that world isn't talking about the whole, you know, oikomene, you know, inhabitable earth. This is talking about the elect, ultimately, of the nation of Israel, okay, being woken up to push this word, okay? You know, that was the one I was looking for earlier. But going back down here to verse 34, all right, it says, but judgment only shall remain, back in 2nd Ezra 7 and 34, but judgment only shall remain. Truth shall stand, and faith shall wax strong, and the work shall follow, and the reward shall be showed. Okay, this is talking about in the kingdom. Okay, it says, and the good deeds shall be of force, and wicked deeds shall bear no rule. Right. So righteousness is going to be enforced. Right now, wickedness is being enforced in the earth, but wicked deeds shall bear no rule. So Esau is going to be taken out of the power seat, okay, crushed, and ultimately Yahushua, which I guess we can end off on that because that was verse 35, Daniel 2 and 44, you know, which is summarizing the end of Esau's kingdom. All right, the divine kingdom. You see, it's titled here. It says, "In the days, Daniel 2 and 44, and in the days of these kings, shall the Most High, the power of heaven, set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people." right? The heathen, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So this is the divine kingdom, or the kingdom of Yahushua, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. That's going to break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms that were aforementioned. Here's the point in verse 45. It says, "For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great power Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of heaven hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure." Okay, so this is sure to come, where all of these other nations that ruled and had a dominion over Israel, and basically the next following kingdom after that, learned and implemented the ways from the previous kingdom that came before it, and oppressed Israel even harder. All right, all this is going to come to an end, man. All right, Esau is the one that's in rulership right now. He's at the tail end of his rulership. Okay, and he's going down. This devil's going down. Okay, and that was pretty much the stop with the middle point. You know what I mean? And it's a good stopping point, because Ezra asks another question in the next verse. So that was all the precepts I had. I don't know if you had, I don't know if you had anything else. Did you have anything else on that, Zaquan, that you want to talk about?
Nah, you can close out.
Hey, well, Lord willing, I brought us out as an edifying lesson. With that, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and those a great millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.
Shalom.